Good day, Grade 7. For today, we are going to discuss Science 7, Quarter 4, Module 3, Solar Energy and the Atmosphere. The content of the video is taken from the self-learning modules produced by the Learning Resource Management and Development System of the Schools Division of Bulacan. Objectives: discuss how energy from the sun interacts with the layers of the atmosphere. At the end of this module, you are expected to 1. Discuss how energy from the sun interacts with the layers of the atmosphere. 2. Identify the 5 layers of the atmosphere. And 3. Discuss how energy transfer from the atmosphere. What I know. Direction: choose the letter of the best answer. Write the letter of your choice on your answer sheet. See pages 2 to 5 of Quarter 4, Module 3. What's in? Fact or bluff? Read each statement carefully. Write the word fact if you think the statement is correct, but if it's false, then write the word bluff. Number 1. One example of conserving our natural resources is by recycling papers and plastics. Answer: fact. 2. A reservoir is one example of natural resources. Answer: bluff. 3. Coal is an example of renewable resources. Answer: bluff. 4. The two types of natural resources are renewable resources and non-renewable resources. Answer: fact. 5. One example of watershed is La Mesa Dam in Metro Manila. Answer: fact. What's new? Word cryptogram. Unscramble the letters by placing the correct letter sequence in the shaded boxes to come up with the correct answer for each number. Use the numbered boxes to complete the answer to the riddle below. Number 1 is done for you. Number 1. Layer of the atmosphere where there is a big amount of ozone layer. Answer: stratosphere. 2. Meteors are burned in this layer of the atmosphere. Answer: mesosphere. Number 3. The first layer of the atmosphere where weather occurs. Answer: troposphere. 4. Space shuttles fly in this area and it is also where auroras are found. Answer: thermosphere. 5. This is the most abundant gas in the atmosphere. Answer: nitrogen. 6. Layer in the stratosphere which absorbs most of the ultraviolet radiation reaching the Earth from the Sun. Answer: ozone layer. And the riddle: layer that surrounds the Earth where all weather events happen. Answer: atmosphere. Energy transfer in the atmosphere. Some energy from the sun is reflected back into space, some is absorbed by the atmosphere, and some is absorbed by land and water on Earth's surface. Heat is the energy that flows from an object with a high temperature to one with a lower temperature. Recall that there are 3 types of heat transfer: radiation, conduction, and convection. All 3 types of transfer occur in the atmosphere. There are 3 types of heat transfer in the atmosphere. Number 1, radiation. The sun's energy reaches Earth through radiation. Radiation is the transfer of energy by electromagnetic waves. 99% of the radiant energy from the sun consists of visible light, ultraviolet light, and infrared radiation. As the sun's energy passes through the atmosphere, some of it is absorbed or taken in by gases and particles. Some of it is reflected back into space. As a result, not all of the energy coming from the sun reaches Earth's surface. Number 2, convection. As molecules of air close to Earth's surface heat, they spread apart and air becomes less dense. Less dense air rises, and transfers thermal energy to higher latitudes. The transfer of thermal energy by the movement of matter from one place to another is called convection. The rising of warm air and the sinking of cold air sets up convection currents. Number 3, conduction. Conduction is the transfer of thermal energy by collisions between particles of matter. Conduction occurs where the atmosphere touches the Earth. Particles must be close enough to touch to transfer energy by conduction. That is why conduction occurs where the air touches the Earth. A spectacular new image taken by astronauts on the International Space Station shows the various layers of the Earth's atmosphere during sunset over the Indian Ocean. A brilliant sequence of colors in the image denotes each of the layers of the Earth's atmosphere, which are visible here because the picture was taken while the space station had an edge-on or limb view of the Earth. From this vantage point, the Earth's curvature can also be made out. The troposphere appears in deep oranges and yellows. Several dark cloud layers are visible in the picture. Variations in the color are due mainly to varying concentrations of either clouds or aerosols. Next up is the stratosphere, which appears as a pink to white region above the clouds. Above the stratosphere, blue layers mark the upper atmosphere, including the mesosphere, the thermosphere, the ionosphere, and the exosphere, as it gradually fades into the blackness of the outer space. The atmosphere. The atmosphere of Earth is the layer of gases surrounding the planet Earth that is retained by Earth's gravity. The atmosphere is the blanket of gases which surrounds Earth. It is held near the surface of the planet by Earth's gravitational attraction. The atmosphere protects life on Earth by absorbing ultraviolet solar radiation, warming the surface through heat retention. The atmosphere surrounds Earth and protects us by blocking out dangerous rays from the sun. The atmosphere absorbs the energy from the sun, recycles water and other chemicals, and works with electrical and magnetic forces to provide a moderate climate. Without the atmosphere, there could be no life on Earth. The atmosphere keeps the climate on Earth moderate compared to that of other planets. The atmosphere is composed of nitrogen, oxygen, and other gases. Nitrogen comprises 78% of the Earth's atmosphere, oxygen 21%, and other gases 1%. Nitrogen is the most abundant element in the Earth's atmosphere. Oxygen is essential to life because it allows us to breathe. The remaining 1% is a mixture of carbon dioxide, water vapor, and ozone. These gases not only produce important weather features such as cloud and rain, but also have considerable influence on the overall climate of the Earth through greenhouse effect and global warming. Layers of the Earth's atmosphere. 5 layers have been identified using thermal characteristics or temperature changes, chemical composition, movement, and density. These are troposphere, stratosphere, mesosphere, thermosphere, and exosphere. What is the basis for dividing Earth's atmosphere into layers? Earth's atmosphere is divided into 5 layers. What is the basis for subdividing the atmosphere? For us to answer the question, let us do this activity. What to do? Number 1, study the graph. So in this graph, we have 2 axis, the y-axis, and the x-axis. The variable plotted on the x-axis is temperature measured in degrees Celsius. This is 0 degrees Celsius. Going to the right of the x-axis, temperature increases or becomes hotter. This is the 0 degrees Celsius. As you go to the left, temperature decreases or becomes colder. The variable plotted on the y-axis is the altitude or the height, which is measured in kilometers. Next, question 1. What are the 5 layers? So the 5 layers of the Earth's atmosphere as shown in the graph are troposphere, stratosphere, mesosphere, thermosphere, and the exosphere. Question 2. Describe the graph for each layer. So for the troposphere, the line moves to the left. For the stratosphere, the line moves to the right. For the mesosphere, the line moves to the left again. For the thermosphere, the line moves to the right. For the exosphere, the line is also to the right. Question 3. In which layer is temperature increasing with increasing altitude? So the answer for this are stratosphere, thermosphere, and exosphere. If you would take a look at our graph, one thing that they have in common is that the line moves to the right. So what does this mean? As the line moves to the right, it means that the temperature is increasing or becomes hotter with increasing altitude. Next, cue number 4. In which layer is temperature decreasing with increasing altitude? So the answer is troposphere and mesosphere. So looking at the graph again, the thing that they have in common is that the line moves to the left. So as the line moves to the left, this means that the temperature becomes colder or it decreases with an increasing altitude. Question 5. What is the relationship between temperature and height in the different layers of the atmosphere? So let us start with the first layer, the troposphere. So as height increases, temperature decreases in the troposphere. And this is represented with a line moving towards the left. Next, in the stratosphere, as height increases, temperature increases. And this is represented with a line moving to the right. Next, in the mesosphere, as height increases, temperature decreases. And this is represented with a line moving to the left. For both thermosphere and exosphere, as height increases, temperature also increases. And this is represented with a line moving towards the right. Q6. Observe the whole graph. What is the basis for the division of Earth's atmosphere? Answer. The basis for the division of Earth's atmosphere is temperature in each layer. So based from the graph, we could see that in each layer, there are differences in temperature. Q7. From the graph, can you generalize that the higher the layer of the atmosphere that is closer to the sun, the hotter the temperature? Why or why not? So answer, no, because in the troposphere and in the mesosphere, the temperature drops as height increases. After learning that the basis for dividing Earth's atmosphere into layers is differences in temperature, let us now move to our discussion about the different layers of the Earth's atmosphere. Let us start with number 1, the troposphere. Troposphere is the layer closest to the Earth's surface. We humans live in the troposphere. Almost all types of weather can be found in this region. It is also the layer which contains over half of all the air in the atmosphere. Most pollution also remains here. The air is heated from the ground up because the surface of the Earth absorbs energy and heats up faster than air. Most clouds appear here mainly because 99% of the water vapor in the atmosphere is found in this layer. Air in the troposphere is constantly moving. As a result, aircraft flying through the troposphere may have a very bumpy ride, what we know as turbulence. People who have used the airplane for traveling have experienced this, especially when there is a typhoon in areas where the plane passes through. Number 2, stratosphere. Stratosphere is the layer of the atmosphere that extends to about 50 kilometers from Earth's surface. Many jet aircraft fly in the stratosphere because it is very stable. We find the ozone layer here because of its increasing temperature. The ozone molecules absorb high-energy ultraviolet rays from the sun, which warm the atmosphere at that level. Otherwise, be dangerous to plant and animal life. Weather generally does not occur here. Number 3, mesosphere. Mesosphere is the layer between 50 kilometers and 80 kilometers above the Earth's surface. The air in this layer is very thin and cold. Most meteors burn up in the mesosphere. The temperature grows colder as you rise up through the mesosphere. Atmospheric temperatures reach the lowest average value of around negative 90 degrees Celsius. The fourth layer of the Earth's atmosphere is the thermosphere. The thermosphere is between 80 kilometers to 110 kilometers above the Earth. When the sun is active, the temperature can reach up to 1,500 degrees Celsius or higher. It is also the hottest layer. Space shuttles fly in this area. It contains light shows called auroras. Auroras are caused when the solar wind strikes gases in the atmosphere above the poles. An aurora is a natural light display that shimmers in the sky. Colorful blue, red, yellow, green, and orange lights shift gently and change shape like softly blowing curtains. Auroras are only visible at night and usually only appear in lower polar regions. Auroras are visible almost every night near the Arctic and Antarctic circles, which are about 66.5 degrees north and south of the equator. In the north, the display is called Aurora Borealis or Northern Lights. In the south, it is called Aurora Australis or Southern Lights. In Finland, the aurora borealis is called revuntulet, which literally translates to foxfires. According to one Finnish folktale, the lights are caused by a magical fox sweeping its tail across the snow and sending sparks up into the sky. The thermosphere also includes the region of the Earth's atmosphere called the ionosphere. The ionosphere is the region of the atmosphere that is filled with charged particles. Elevated temperatures can sometimes cause a molecule to become ionized. Therefore, the ionosphere and thermosphere can overlap. The ionosphere is important because it reflects and modifies radio waves used for communication and navigation. The fifth layer of the Earth's atmosphere is the exosphere. The upper limit of the atmosphere is the exosphere. At very high altitudes, the atmosphere becomes very thin. This is also a region where atoms and molecules escape into space. Satellites are stationed in this area 500 to 1,000 kilometers from Earth. Let us now discuss the different activities in What's More. Independent Activity 1. Color the 5 layers of the atmosphere with its corresponding color in the box. Write the name of each layer. So for troposphere, color it yellow. For thermosphere, color it green. For stratosphere, color it orange. For mesosphere, color it blue. and for exosphere, color it red. Independent Assessment 1. Draw it. Draw the layers of the atmosphere, label each layer. In each layer, draw a picture that represents the phenomena or objects that exist there. For Independent Assessment 1, you will be graded based on the following category. 1. Creativity and originality. The concept shows originality and creativity. The objects are presented in an exceptional and interesting way. Next, relevance of the content. All contents are related to the topic. And the third, required objects. The objects found includes all required elements and gives additional information. Independent Activity 2. Let's organize. Using the given graphic organizer, fill in the missing parts to complete the entire concept. So the main concept is all about the layers of the atmosphere. Independent Assessment 2. Atmosphere Crossword Puzzle. Use the clues below to fill in the crossword puzzle with the correct words. So these are your clues for all the words down, and these are the clues for the words across. Independent Activity 3. In which layer of the atmosphere can we see the following pictures? So number 1, meteor. 2, ionosphere. 3, airplane. 4, satellite. 5, a space rocket. 6, volcano. 7, hot air balloon. 8, rain. 9, ozone layer. And 10, aurora. Independent Assessment 3. What is the basis for dividing Earth's atmosphere into layers? So the objectives, describe the features and temperature of each of the 5 layers. 2. Explain the basis for the division of the layers of the atmosphere. Materials needed, graph in Figure 1, the layers of the atmosphere. Procedure, study the graph, then answer question 1 and question 2, and then complete this table. First column, the atmospheric layers, troposphere, stratosphere, mesosphere, thermosphere, and exosphere. And then, write the change in temperature. So for number 1, the troposphere, the temperature decreases with increasing altitude. And then, answer Q3. What I have learned. Supply the missing term to complete the paragraph. What I can do. Determine how solar energy is being transferred from the given situation. Example, mother prepares hot coffee for my auntie. When my auntie held the spoon on the cup, she noticed that the spoon is hot. So the answer for this is conduction. So here is situation number 1, situation number 2, and situation number 3. So determine which method of heat transfer is used in those situations. Assessment. Modify true or false. Read the sentence carefully. Write true if the statement is correct, but if it's false, change the underlined word to make the whole statement true. See pages 15 to 16 of Quarter 4, Module 3. Additional activity, performance task number 4.3. Directions, list important characteristics of each layer. So you are going to write the characteristics for the troposphere, stratosphere, mesosphere, thermosphere, and exosphere. For Science 7, Quarter 4, Module 3, Solar Energy and the Atmosphere, you need to have the following on your answer sheet. What I know, what's more, answer independent activities 1, 2, 3, independent assessments 1, 2, 3, what I have learned, what I can do, assessment, and the additional activities. The additional activity will also be your performance task number 4.3 for Quarter 4, Module 3. If you are done answering, upload your answer sheets in PDF format in your Google Drive folder. The path is Science 7, Quarter 4, Module 3. Or send them in JPEG format to my messenger. Thank you for attending our Science 7 online class. God bless you all.